We talked earlier about Donald Trump trying to ignore the natural danger of COVID and focus on the constructed danger of COVID, which is the economic impact, and how that would allow him to shift blame because he's failed so miserably in addressing the medical situation with COVID, right, by making it all about the constructed implications of COVID, i.e. that you're being forced to stay inside or not. He can shift blame onto the Democratic governors, or he can shift blame onto, Obamagate or whatever it is. And one of the other entities that he wants to shift blame on, and we've heard Peter Navarro every time he's on television talks about the Chi-Coms, is the Chinese. And here he does that. And there's some question as to why in that moment he pivoted to blaming the Chinese. What message he was sending to, I think her name is Weijia Zhang from CBS. Also, Caitlin Collins makes an appearance here, too, in this exchange. Here's Donald Trump asked why he's making COVID response a global competition as opposed to something that they could work on.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Said many times that the U.S. is doing far better than any other country when it comes to testing.
Yes.
Why does that matter? Why is this a global competition to you if everyday Americans are still losing their lives and we're still seeing more cases every day?
Well, they're losing their lives everywhere in the world. And maybe that's a question you should ask China.
Oh, my God.
Don't ask me. Ask China that question, okay? When you ask them that question, you may get a very unusual answer. Yes, behind you, please.
Pause it for a second. Now, pause it. Now, when I first heard about this exchange, I thought there was a rational reason why he was bringing up China. Like, what, but he's not. He's not.
Also, if the premise was about testing, why would you ask China? They're doing better.
Right, exactly. I mean, the idea that this is a very generic question about, why do you see this as we are in competition with the entire world to heal ourselves? I mean, now maybe they're just so rife with conspiracy in the White House that they still believe this was a purposeful thing by China as a way of knocking Donald Trump's economy out of the blocks or something.
This was always so. I swear to God, this comes down to Bannon. Bannon, when he was in the working on the EU elections last year, he was doing these long meetings with Italian fascist leaders on camera talking about how everything needed to be focused on China. That is Bannon's obsession. And what a time to bring up China this election, trade policies that divided the Obama administration from the Trump administration. I mean, we have to be... Obama wanted to do APEC summits, APEC summit, all these different Asian...
PPP.
Yes, PPP, exactly. So ultimately, I mean, this is it delivered to him on a platter, and all Trump has to do is just bring everything back to China. That's
right. And one wonders if he's looking at the question, and the first thing he's like, why don't you ask China? Here we go. Go back a little bit. And the way he says it, too, is really... he's angry about it. Go ahead.
Cases every day.
Well, they're losing their lives everywhere in the world. And maybe that's a question you should ask China. Don't ask me. Ask China that question, okay? When you ask them that question, you may get a very unusual answer. Yes, behind you, please.
Sir, why are you saying that to me specifically?
I'm telling you, I'm not saying it specifically to anybody. I'm saying it to anybody that would ask a nasty question like that.
That's not a nasty
question. Please go ahead.
Why does it matter?
Okay, anybody else? Please, go ahead in the back, please.
I have two questions.
No, it's okay.
But you pointed to me. I have two questions, Mr. President.
Next, please.
But you called on me.
I did, and you didn't respond, and now I'm calling on the young lady in the back, please.
I just wanted to let my colleague finish, but can I ask you
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, people aren't going to listen to me when I say there's a question. You know what? You know what got him really pissed off there? I think why he got so pissy about it, like a little baby.
Yeah.
He did not appreciate the fact that he was trying to be intimidating to the first reporter, and when Caitlin
Collins,
the second reporter, said, "Do you want to follow up?" Like, hey, he's not going to use me to shut you up.
Right.
That's, I think, where he got very pissy about it. And then I think when he saw that the third reporter, and I don't know who he had called on, was deferring to the second one, I think that's where he's like, I got to get out of here because I'm losing my authority around. Like, I'm not intimidating people enough. And so I got to get out of here. I mean, he really, he got very, very pissy, and I feel like his feelings were hurt a little bit.
Did you hear they sort of shut off her microphone too? The first reporter.
Yep. I mean, I think like this type of stuff. There, one of the problems that the press has always had is that there's just not enough like impetus to protect their institution relative to their own sort of like career agenda on some level. I mean, I happen to think that these like I don't know. I mean, I think given that these things take place and there are moments that make Trump look bad, I think it's helpful for us to play them, frankly. But I'm not sure if I'm on board with the press actually showing up for these sort of freak shows. But
right now it's like they don't have anything to lose because it's just so apparently clear how dysfunctional the White House is. And so even asking a question like, was that targeted at me, or why did you, it's pretty basic stuff. They're not asking hard-hitting questions here.
No, that's not. I mean, like, yeah, why aren't you? Why is this a competition?
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible in his mind. It's like, well, it's a competition because China is spying on us about the vaccinations, but why not just make it open source?
Right.
I mean, this is the thing that has driven the coronavirus response by this government. Is how do we monetize it? How do our friends monetize it every single step of the way? And they're still doing it. And it's like, give me, like, how serious does this have to be until you're like, we're going to, was it the Salk with the polio vaccine? Like, yeah. I think it was when he was asked, like, are you going to patent this? He's like, what?
Right.
It'll be like patenting fire. Like, he's like, no, I'm doing this for people.
Well, it's interesting. Like, there was this moment right after the crisis, right? There's always this, anytime we're hit with some sort of disaster, there's this brief little period where it really is humans first. And then the business interests get in line and lobbyists show up in Washington or virtually. And then suddenly it becomes a political game. Always. Doesn't matter what the crisis is in America. That is how it plays out. And it's not how it plays out in other countries because they just don't have an economic system or a lobbying structure like we do. So
was there even a moment, though, in this country where it was humans first? Because I feel like this administration on day one was like deny. And then it was like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah. Well, at least Pelosi. Like, there was a conversation about MMT, like in the Democratic caucus, that went out the window 2 minutes in.
Right. Well, look, we may have more time for that going forward.